ever felt frustrated and helpless after listening and doing everything your vet told you to do, but it only made your sick pet worse and not get any better? That's me in 2008 with my first adopted cat, Meow. I did everything the vet told me to do, and I realized she wasn't getting any better and only worse. So I decided to look into alternative health options and was drawn to the stories of holistic pet service entrepreneurs and their transformative journey, overcoming obstacles, chasing their passion, and creating a movement that has caused a ripple effect of positive change in the lives of their clients and pets around the world. Join me as I share the raw, inspiring journeys of these amazing entrepreneurs, their successes and failures. My name is Amrys Wang, and this is The Raw Entrepreneur. I just want to thank you for your work. As usual, I love your products so much. Whenever I can, I will, always purchase it. I'm actually waiting for your the kitty poop.
I know, the kitty poop, it's been so hard. We've really been struggling to have healthy donors, and but we're working on it. It's going to get better soon. It's been a rough couple months for sure. And we hated to have to exclude it from sales because we just don't have enough.
Yeah, no, I understand.
And if we have a sale, people stock up on it, and we're like, but there are people who need it and they can't get it. So yeah. It's not really that we don't want to give cat people discounts. We just don't. We have so little. We want to make sure everyone gets some.
Yeah, I completely understand. I think in a way it's good. It just means that there's more demand for your product since, yeah, I think that's a good sign in a way, that there's more awareness of animal biome, especially I think this past year. So much more has been happening, I think, even on your side, because I've been following your newsletters and stuff. So I was thinking, yeah, it's time for an update and just just to see you again.
Yeah, I love talking to you so much. And so, yeah, I feel like we probably haven't talked since COVID, or it was right around this, the start of all this insanity.
Yeah.
That was the last time we really got to talk. It's been busy past year and a half, I think, just in general, trying to keep things going with, we had to fight for swabs for our testing kits and supplies and figure out how to order things. And to make sure that we could keep things going. But now I feel like we've figured some of that out, and we just stockpile more of our lab supplies. And we have, I think we're doing pretty well with keeping dog material, but the cat material's been a bit harder. I think some of cats get coronavirus, and so we lose some of them, the donors for that. It's feline coronavirus is a problem for cats, but an FIP. And I was actually recently reading up on that, and FIP was first identified in cats in 1962, and we could absolutely have a vaccine for them, but it's just nobody cares enough to spend the money to develop a vaccine for them. But we really should make that happen. It's a terrible disease for them anyway. But we things are going really well. We raised funding last spring, and we're people continue to want to really have their pets have healthy microbiomes, and so now we actually have people who know how to talk to people, doing more communication instead of just having it be scientists like me.
Yeah, but I think when I first interviewed you, that was really in the beginning of probably when did I launch my podcast? 7th of May 2020. Yeah, but I interviewed you.
All right, so 2020.
Yeah, so when I interviewed you, it was early 2020, and I think that was just the beginning of it, and no one envisioned that it's gonna drag on for this long.
I know. I mean, that's the thing. we're lucky that we have, right, like vaccines and medications being developed to treat COVID, because like for cats, it's been 60 years and they still like die from this terrible coronavirus with a horrible death. And it's similar, and some of them get really sick and some of them are fine. And you don't really know, we don't know why, because they're sort of nasty viruses. But I prefer to think about the gut microbiome.
So how's everything with AnimalBiome and your research and everything? How's that been progressing?
So we're very excited because we're working on the manuscript for submission. It won't probably happen this week, but hopefully we'll be submitting by the end of next week, the manuscript on the healthy cat microbiome.
Wow.
So we have, collected, I think for this study, we used about 1,600 samples from pet cats. But for the whole company and for like including all the samples this year, we're at about 16,000 samples.
Wow.
And so we're starting to put papers together. So we started with like, what does the healthy cat microbiome look like? And is there evidence that there is sort of a core of group of bacteria that like most healthy cats have? And then we're going to work on how is it different if cats are sick. But for this first paper, we're looking at the core group of bacteria that found in most healthy cats. How does it vary with diet? Like, or if they're raw fed, or if they get some kibble, or they get wet and dry food. And what we find is like there's definitely differences, right, between a raw fed cat and a cat that's fed a kibble and wet. And the dry food has such a strong effect that we did some machine learning with this data, and we found that we could identify if a cat received any dry food with greater than 96% accuracy.
Wow.
We also looked at the shelter environment and found that we were initially looking at these shelter cat samples because we got interested in looking at FIV status in cats and whether or not it affected the microbiome. And so we got samples from shelter cats, but then with FIV where they were doing the testing. And then we got matched samples from cats in the same shelter that didn't test positive for FIV, and we compared them. But then we found that like the shelter samples were so different from the house cats that we looked at that. So we could only sort of, I think, distinguish FIV positive cat from a negative with like 82% accuracy, I think. But if we looked at, which is not bad, but it's not, you really want it to be over 90%. But we could distinguish whether or not a cat is living in a shelter or in a house with more than 96% accuracy as well. So another really massive effect. And then we sort of tested, well, is it because shelter cats might have undiagnosed health conditions because like the shelter staff don't have the whole history on these cats like we do with our pets. So we looked at some of our data from cats that were just a little bit sick, because if they were really sick, they'd probably know. And we actually found that while it improved the classifier slightly, it was only like maybe 20% of the effect. So there's much larger effect of the stress of the shelter environment, maybe the kinds of food that they also are, being fed there too. So yeah, there's a big effect of shelters, which means that you can't just study cats in shelters or cats in colonies and say that they're the same as cats living in homes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do rescue work. So, I've seen cats in shelters, and it's actually a really high stress kind of living environment for them, because it's really, people pack them in, though they say they try not to, but shelters usually they're restricted by a lot of limitations in terms of resources and funding. So like in Singapore, I think one of the reasons why I decided to be more of an independent rescuer versus say focusing on TNR, trap, neuter, return, manage, where I just sterilize the colonies outside and I manage them holistically, is because if if I put them into shelters, it's almost like a death sentence in that sense. Most of the cats in shelters, especially in Singapore here, don't really get rehomed, because it's just too many cats, out there, and too many adoption appeals, but unfortunately not enough adopters. So I don't know, my limited experience is that usually when a cat goes into a shelter, they will usually end up just living there for the rest of their lives, unless there is a particular prospective adopter that is specifically looking to take out a cat from a shelter environment. Most times it's really difficult, and because of funding, diet isn't fantastic. It really is usually budget dry food most of the time, and sometimes the occasional wet canned food as a treat, because a lot of these people who manage shelters, they really have huge hearts, but not enough resources to, even make space. So I wouldn't be surprised when you look at your data that, that the gut microbiome is, and the poop is like not so healthy in that sense. Yeah, but I really want to thank you for doing that, because I've always felt that what your company does, AnimalBiome, is very out in the frontier medicine of science for animals, because there's really like not that many. Honestly, I don't know of any other scientists, except you guys, who are doing so much in trying to investigate, the gut, and the effects it has. And what you guys do for dogs and cats is, it means a lot to me, not just as a pet parent, as a rescuer, but I just really salute you guys, because it's not a, what's the word, lucrative, popular, like cancer research when it comes to like the sciencey, the industry of it all. People always talk about cancer as big pharma kind of stuff, but what you guys do, really, you do it from the heart with such mission and purpose. I remember when I first met you with our interview, and I just was very moved, very, very touched by your sincerity, and it just makes me so proud that I've been following you all this time, and I've seen you guys grow, and there's so much more awareness of AnimalBiome now. I mean, like when I have like my adopters talk to me about, their cat or their dog, the gut's not doing very well, and then we try to work it out, locally, and then I said, well, if you have the budget, I highly, highly recommend AnimalBiome, and if you, so I was sort of like, if you have the budget, do the testing, it will contribute. If not, at least try their poop pills, because, like to this day, I tell everyone, your poop pills are like gold. Whenever I can, I'll just, get some, because they have made such a huge improvement, especially when I'm dealing with very sick animals, and I can see the turn. I can see them actually improve, and it's not on anything else I've done, because everything else I've done has always been the same. Just adding your poop pills is like magic, and a lot of people are always just really like, I had one adopter, she said to me, she bought the poop pills, and within like a couple of days, the diarrhea resolved, and she was shocked, because she's been going to the vet, like over and over again, and the vet always they usually prescribe the standard of care for diarrhea, and as we know, it destroys the gut microbiome normally. So when she did that, she was so like shocked, I said, yep, I know, it's magic. These little things, they're magic, so yeah, thank you, because you have actually helped quite a few of my adopters and pet parents that I know in Singapore, because they've actually bought your product, and they've given feedback as well, that they're happy. They're really happy. So thank you.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. I mean, it's I would say that, probably we wouldn't still exist if those pills didn't work so well, right? Like it's a weird thing to do, but it's necessary. And some of the reason it's necessary is because of all the antibiotics, right, that the pets get, or sometimes they just didn't get the right thing for mom. And right, standard veterinary medicine at this point isn't including this, but it's growing. We're starting to get more veterinarians on board, and I hope that they start to use alternatives that support the native gut bacteria more than just throwing antibiotics at things. But I think it's a big change, and people like aren't happy if they go to the doctor and they don't get antibiotics. You know, maybe people are starting to realize that that's hard on the gut and that there might be other approaches that are better, but it's still kind of I think it's going to take a while.
I have a question, because you said, when you get the test and you look at like be it dogs or cats, and you were looking at cats and you can sort of see the difference in the microbiome based on the diet. Is it really that obvious?
Yes. Yeah, it's really, it's quite remarkable. So, it's hard to know exactly what to think of it because we need long-term research, right? So the pet food companies who have invested so much in dry diets would argue that their diets are really healthy. And, they do a lot of research. So I don't want to say that they don't have really smart people who really care about pets. They do. What we don't know is long-term, which diet is the most healthful that will contribute to sort of best health and longevity. And to really get at that, we need to do 15, 20-year studies, right? Where we follow kittens and puppies all the way through their lives and do it in a way where we can really, test outcomes. And I think it seems like a long time, but it's 5 times faster than doing it with people. And it would probably help us to better understand how diet affects our own longevity and health to do this with pets. But getting funding for that is challenging. But there are a few longevity studies that have launched, and we're working with the Morris Animal Foundation on their golden retriever lifetime study, and getting to work with some of the samples that they've collected over the past 12 years. And so that's going to be sort of exciting data that we'll be looking into in 2021. We've got the first, I think, 200 samples. Yeah, so the diet definitely has this large effect. And it's interesting because I think they put some really good fibers in the dry diets. And so I think that it could be that we want to have some of those fibers available, even if you're feeding a fresh or a raw diet, like we feed our own pets. Sometimes I do find the need to add in, some fiber, and it'd be nice to have different kinds, right? Because there's all these different plants out there producing different fibers. And right now we rely a lot on things like inulin, which I find to be super helpful, but there are lots of fibers. And so we're hoping to have more of those available. We need some more nutritional advisors. So let me know if you know anyone.
Okay. So, the poop pills that you do, which I think like super miracle magical nuggets there. Because you looked at the diet of dogs and cats and how the diet affects the poop. So what for your poop pills, I don't know whether you're able to share this, but the donors that provide the healthy samples, because obviously I know you screen them, for bacteria and all that, but does it make a difference on what diet the donors are on?
All of our donors are sort of young and healthy enough that we haven't found a big donor effect. Like in the beginning, we were interested in whether or not there was a super donor in the fecal transplant world. There was talk about that maybe there are some individuals that are are really amazing. They found that some people don't get HIV, right? That there could be differences. And maybe the microbiome could be like that as well. But we haven't really found evidence for that. I think some of it is that the microbiome among pets isn't as variable as it is among people. They don't have the same diversity of cultures and foods that we have. And so it's, I think, a little bit easier for us to say this is a healthy core microbiome. And so, and it's like just a little bit of material, right? It's not, so I view them as seeds, and we know that all of our donors have representations of all of what the core groups that we think are associated with health. So while we do like to have donors that are on a raw diet, we found it, and we do have some, it's hard for us to keep them in. They are likely for some reason to get like elevated levels of E. coli. I think, I don't know why, but so we sort of really carefully monitor. And so I think that even if you're getting material that's from a pet that's fed a sort of premium conventional diet, it's still got the right seeds. And you can support pulling out the things that, are associated with a raw diet by offering a raw or fresh diet. A lot of it too is related to protein content as well. And so we always recommend that even if they're on like a kibble wet combination diet, that we don't really have any dry only fed donors, that we make sure the protein content is higher, because we're not totally sure if the effect of the raw diet is due to it being raw or is it due to it being higher protein. And that's studies that really need to still happen.
You have a lot of work ahead of you because you have so many studies to do.
I know, right?
But that makes it really exciting because you're just so young, and you have so much energy, your company, and a lot of passion. So I believe that all these studies, you're going to get there. We just need time, because holy cow, how old is AnimalBiome now?
We just turned 5.
Yeah, 5. So it's like the amount of work you've generated, and the data that's now slowly coming in over the last 5 years, it's really amazing. It's really exciting. I feel excited, and I'm not even a scientist, right? But yeah, I love your company so much. It's like, seriously, like I said, there are times when I do wish I lived in the US and I lived near you. That would be wonderful, because I would like, give you my dog to experiment on, and just see what comes out of it. But yeah, I think, 5 years, you guys have really come a long way. I mean, like, seriously, I remember your original packaging, and the last time when I ordered the recent packaging, it's so different in that sense, and I can see like, whoa, I feel so proud because like I'm journeying with you guys, other thing.
I know, I've just been, oh, go ahead.
No, the other thing I noticed on your website, because you've introduced not just poop pills now. You do more like supportive stuff. Maybe you can share as well.
Yeah, so I mean, some of this I learned from sort of some Facebook groups, but like from the beginning, that we started right with a pilot study, and we did the poo pills, and then we found that sometimes like it's hard to do the poo pills if your cat or dog is having chronic diarrhea, right? Because you're sort of worried about things being aggravated. Plus, it's all inflamed. I feel like it's hard for the good bugs to colonize when things are all in distress inside. So one of the products that we've recommended for years, that I found out through sort of the IBD cat community, was S-Boulardii. So using S-Boulardii, using some powder, like some inulin, those were things that people had found helpful. And so for years, we've been like sending people to Amazon, buy some whatever we can find. Also, Pre4 Pro, it's a bacteriophage cocktail that combats E. coli. They're E. coli that are sort of more problematic in people. So we have 2 products on the website right now. So one of them we call the Gut Maintenance Plus, and it contains S-Boulardii with moss, which is a good prebiotic fiber, a little bit of inulin, although not sort of like substantial, like not really enough. It's just, instead of having a filler, we put something that's beneficial in there. And then it has the Pre4 Pro bacteriophage cocktail all together. And we have it sort of in small capsules, but they're not maybe as small as what cat people would like. So it can be just opened up if you need to for the GMP. But for, we have a new one that we just launched. It's S-Boulardii with FOS, FOS, and it's just a scoop, and you scoop it onto the food. Both of these don't need to be in a capsule. They can pass through the stomach. So it's Esplartii with FOS, and then and we also now have the Pre4 Pro separately, and so we'll be making that available soon. The Pre4 Pro, we just have to mix it in with something because it doesn't take up very much space. So so that will be launching this winter.
Oh, you guys have been really busy. I mean, I think what I like is that, you started with your main product, and your test kits and all that. And as you journeyed on, you realize that, oh, okay, the pet parents, they encounter certain problems. And then you're trying to like, okay, this is something that you need to, provide to help them achieve the ultimate goal of using the poop pills. Because you're right, because I've had some cases where their gut is just so bad and the diarrhea is so chronic that it actually takes small incremental steps to slowly, prep the gut in that sense before it's ready to actually fully utilize the benefits of the poop pill. That has been some of my experience for certain cases as well. I remember when I first started buying from you guys, what's her name? Alex? Is she still there?
Yes, she is.
Yeah. So I remember Alex would email and she would give the recommendations that you were saying, based on, research and, just knowing the community that's on the ground doing all these things. So I actually took note. So whenever I have these issues and with pet parents as well, I would also give them these recommendations, So yeah, thank you.
And we know that they don't harm the native gut bacteria. So and that they seem to help the poop pills work better. So that's why we want to try and have things that are complementary as much as possible to supporting the native flora in the gut.
Yeah, no, you guys, I don't know. To me, you guys are like superheroes, really. Yeah, really. You are still to date, I think, my favorite company. Yeah, AnimalBiome. Because every time when an animal is sick and I talk to them, and I will say like, well, if you can, maybe you want to think about, instead of you keep using the steroids and the antibiotics that the vet's giving you, and you keep getting worse and worse, same results in that sense, is not improving, I'll say like, consider AnimalBiome. And I'll tell them like, look, the amount of money you've already spent on the vet bill, I think it's worth that amount, just going and ordering it online to get it to Singapore. And many people are very surprised that you do ship. They're like, yeah, they ship. It's easy. It's one of the things I like is that you guys come in a very nice bottle, and I can just pop it in my fridge. Though sometimes I do have to look carefully where I put certain things so that I don't mix it with my human stuff. But yeah, so it's like, yeah, I remember I asked you this question the first time, what would happen if I was to take a one of your poop pills?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't done it myself. I suspect a few people have, but don't recommend it. But I did want to tell you though that we one thing that's new is that this past year we got some investment, and we're using it to build a new lab where we're going to isolate these good bacteria from cats and dogs, so that we can make what we call like the next generation of probiotics or poobiotics. Oh. Yeah, and that'll make them so that we don't have to have donors, and it'll make it easier for us to manufacture them and to make them more affordable for everybody.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Oh, my hair's
it's so cool. We're gonna get to name new bugs. It's gonna be really cool.
You're gonna have poop baby parties, like poop, I don't know what they call it, like baby showers, so like poop showers. Oh my goodness. I think yeah, a lot of people that I know locally, they think I'm a bit funny because I obsess over poop so much. You know, I love poop, and you know, they sort of look at me funny, and I always have to explain, like, the animal doesn't speak English. They can't tell you what's wrong with them. So the best way to figure out if there's something wrong is you just have to look at their poop, you know, and to get an
It's true.
idea, you know. So it's like, I just love, you, like, seriously, I know I keep saying this over and over, but I really love your poop pills. They, and you're telling me that you're going to have next generation ones. I'm really excited, you know. How long do you think it'll
Yeah,
take?
and we're gonna. Oh, I mean, I think it's really going to take us a couple of years, probably. I mean, we are. We're hoping to have the cat one something together by the end of 2021, but I would probably expect 2022.
Okay, hey, that's not bad already.
But for cats, and a little bit 6 months or so after that for dogs. We're doing cats first because cats have been the hardest to keep supplied. And I do want to also mention there's a really exciting clinical trial going on at the University of Illinois Veterinary School where they're using the poop pill to treat cats and dogs with diabetes mellitus, and getting some very promising results. So super excited for those findings to come out probably later next year. But and this researcher has already looked at FMT for like hemorrhagic gastroenteritis already, and he's super bullish on that, especially for cats, that he thinks it'll put them in remission, which would be so cool.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You're literally making me really excited, and my hair standing up right now on my arms, because you know what you're saying is music to my ears. I'm just really excited for you. Every day I'm just gonna say a lot of prayers and send a lot of good energy and vibes to you guys over here, because yeah, no, superheroes, like I said, you're on the frontier of medicine for animals. Is amazing. I remember when we did the interview, you were talking about, in your ideal world, you would love to make okay, I can't get the phrase right, but like specific cocktails you're talking about.
Yes. That's the idea, is like, so there'll be cocktails for different conditions. And so we can really sort of tailor them. I mean, of course, we're starting with sort of the chronic diarrhea cases, because that's where we started. And that's what's, you know, so foundational, right? If nothing else is going to be good if you're having that. But there's, you know, a whole range of other problems that the gut can probably help with. I mean, even, you know, neurological conditions there's like a lot of work in humans looking at that. Skin, of course, is a big problem for pets. And then sort of the metabolic disorders, obesity, diabetes. These are things that, even though diabetes may not be like super common in pets, my cat died from complications from diabetes, and I know how hard that is.
How about cancer?
Yeah. So that's what we're doing with the golden retriever lifetime study, is these golden retrievers who are the sweetest dogs in the world. Like a lot of them started dying in the US relatively young from some really bad cancers. And so that's what we're trying to look at with those samples, is we have fecal samples from across the lifetime of these golden retrievers. A lot of them got various cancers, but we're sort of focusing on some of the most prevalent ones and trying to see if we could identify if there's a signal in the microbiome of those conditions before they and if so, how early in their life was that signal there. And what's great with the Morris Animal Foundation is that we're able to match like golden retrievers of the same age who didn't get cancer with those that did, to see if we could find any of these differences.
You've been really, really busy, haven't you?
I have a lot of dreams, and but I'm grateful to have a wonderful team of people now helping us to realize some of them.
I know, I love your team. I mean, like, honestly, if one day if I'm ever able to leave this country and travel in peace to the US, I you are one of the people that I actually want to meet in person. That's my ultimate dream, like my bucket list. If I ever get to the US, I definitely want to visit you guys, because the impact, the you have made such a huge impact in how I take care of my animals, how I help them, especially when it comes to sick animals, especially, even when I, can't, I don't have the budget to buy it, but I always tell pet parents, and I will tell all the rescues, like, if you can, you should invest and at least get one bottle to try. I always tell them that, because I said, it's like, it's made such a huge difference. Being able to see, the turnaround, because I've had cats with after surgery, even like full mouth dental extraction, and the medicine, one cat was just really allergic to it. But when we gave the poop pill, it's like this, all the skin lesions disappeared, because that was the side effect of the medication, and things like that. And then the cat actually was interested in food again, which is so important, because if they don't eat, you can forget about it. But yeah, you guys have done such an amazing thing. So I'm really looking forward to whatever, all your dreams will come true. Definitely. I'm so excited for you. So thank you.
Well, oh, thank you so much. That's so nice to hear. Well, I would really love to come and meet you as well, and have some of that amazing Singaporean food, which we hear so much about. The best in the world. I look forward to sort of post-pandemic, when we can all travel again and not have to worry about, all this.
Yeah. But yeah, so thank you for making the time. I know you're a very busy lady. Do take care of yourself, because there's only one of you. Each of you on your AnimalBiome team are very unique individuals, so please, everyone, take good care. Enjoy your holidays. Don't just work. I know work is very important, but you've got to take time out and enjoy life, because that's why you're doing everything. It's so that you can enjoy the company of your animals. Okay.
This is true. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season, and that you have a very happy new year.
Wow. I'm so thankful and grateful that you took the time to listen to this podcast. It would mean the world to me if you could subscribe, download, rate, review, and share this with others whom you care about that may enjoy it as well. Thank you, and remember to be kind to yourself and others. Have a awesome day, everyone.